Chapman, who is the owner and operator. She's going to tell you about the good food and everything that's going on here at Feed the Daily Grind. Give it up for Mandy Chapman, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Here, doctors. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Constance Days Chapman. Everyone calls me Mandy, and I'm one of the owners here. And we want to welcome you to Beat the Daily Grind. We love it here. This is a place that is full of love. We put love into our food, love into our service, and love into all that we do. Our head chef here, his name is Chef Dominic Barksdale. It's Father's Day, and he has several kids, so we gave him off for the day. So we're managing without him, but we're doing extremely well. And we thank you for coming. We want you to know that this is a place for our community, a place for you to have your meetings, host events, and this is what we have here for you, for all of us. And we hope that you enjoy your time here. We hope that you come back and see us again. And I also want to say thank you to Ray, because what he does is important for our community. And we thank you for your collective efforts to bring awareness to the arts and to news and other things that you do within our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, today we'll be here doing a town hall style event with some men from our community. In fact, the event is called Men in Our Community. The way it works is we have several panelists, and Dr. Miller, you should be up here too. Squeeze in where you fit in. So I'm going to ask them several questions revolving around issues of relationships, education, health. We're going to start off talking about fatherhood and parenting. And if you in the studio audience decide that you have something that you want to contribute or ask, please feel free to be involved in that way. Also, another way that you can be involved is that we ask for a donation if you can, but no one is turned away. But these things that we do incur costs. So whatever you are inclined to give or donate or contribute, we will definitely accept, and you can see me to make that contribution. Thank you so much, and as soon as I take my seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to all fathers.
Happy Father's Day to all fathers. Since I'm not a father, I always forget that part. That's a good place to start. But before I start, let me do this. Let me introduce my panelists. And I think what I'll do is I'll ask the panelists if they can give me the 1 to 2 minute introduction of who they are. We have some esteemed gentlemen here, so we'll start off with the person who's in government because we don't want any problems. Mr. Parker.
I promise you there will be no problems with me. My name is Andrew Parker. Before I give my government title, I'll start with saying that I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, all those very important titles I think are much more important than government titles, and I'm also a proud educator right here in the city of Atlantic City. I teach middle school mathematics right at the young end of town, Pennsylvania Avenue, and I started out my political career, I started out my career, I should say, in government on zoning board in Egg Harbor Township. I did about 10 years doing that work behind the scenes. I was asked to run for township committee in Egg Harbor Township. I ran and won. That was 2018. At that time, I was the first and only black township committee, elected township committee person in the history of Egg Harbor Township. I did not hold on to that. I then went to work and helped another brother get on. His name is Ray Ellis. So now we've had another one. So when he came on, he's now, as a matter of fact, Ray Ellis is now the deputy mayor of Egg Harbor Township. So I'm proud to have been a part of that. I was then asked to run for county commissioner seat, which I've been holding since. And that position, for those who don't know, is a subcommittee, government, form of government. And my proudest seat that I sit on there is chair of education and schools. So that's who I am.
Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Tom Miller. I'm a chiropractor in Pleasantville, New Jersey. I'm also a father, husband. We'll be married 39 years this August. 4 children, 4 boys, and I've been in practice for over 40 years, just this past October. And my greatest goal and mission is really to help support our community, helping people to learn how to get well, stay well, and live their best life possible by making sure that you do the right things in terms of eating right, exercise, getting proper rest, sleeping, the whole nine. That's been my passion. My life is just to really help support our community to live a very vibrant life as we go through the aging process, making sure that aging is not something that when you get to be 50, 60, 70, 80 that you're broken down, but you can have vitality by doing the right things. So, just glad to be here.
My name is Raymond Tyler. I'll be your moderator for today. The only reason I'm taking the mic is because I usually dress a little bit better, but I want to point out this Muhammad Ali t-shirt I'm wearing today is in memory of my father, who, when he was alive, used to come to all of my events, and Muhammad Ali was his guy. He loved him to no end, so I figured on Father's Day, in tribute to my father, I would wear my Muhammad Ali shirt.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerome Mark Page. I was born in Camden, New Jersey, raised in Atlantic City. My grandfather was the first black corporal police officer in Atlantic City. A lot of people don't know that. Raised with a mother and a father, 3 brothers. One is a twin. He was identical twin. The twin brother passed in 18. He was about 58 years old. I am now 64. I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and 8 grandchildren. Live in Pleasantville now. Got involved with the community, joined the school board, sat on the school board for over 17 years, Pleasantville. Remember this gentleman here. Later on, my twin brother went to college and he graduated in Bible science, and he taught me everything about the Bible. And I went to school for 4 years and graduated with honors. And we both became ordained pastors, and now I'm a pastor. We had a house, we had a building, and because of COVID, we came out of the building, and now I do home services. All my members, I go to their homes. And I always look at it as a good thing, because there's always somebody upstairs with the door closed that don't want nothing to do with church, don't want nothing to do with God. But when you have the service down in their living room, and all they hear is Jesus, Jesus, it opens the door and they come down. I'm here because of Raymond. I met him years ago, and he's always been involved in the community, and I'll just end it like that. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hassan Abdul-Rahim. I'll start by saying I noticed you called him Raymond, and you told me a few weeks ago when I said Ray, if I do that again, he's going to knock me out. So, Raymond, thanks for inviting me. I met Andrew earlier today. I didn't know we were going to be both educators. Middle school, as a matter of fact. I retired from Pleasantville Middle School 4 years ago as the band director and music teacher Band and music has been my life. I started playing trombone when I was 11. I'm on 69, I still play. I'll throw a plug in, 100-year anniversary up here from Soldiers Home, my band will be playing. I retired from Pleasantville Middle School, and I want to put a plug out here for somebody else. Atlantic City High School didn't have a band for several years. Are any of you aware of that? And this is a Stick Your Chest album. Their new band director is my former student. Other than that, I mean, I'm a father, stepfather. Let's see, one of my daughters remarried, so man, I got a lot of grandchildren now. I claim them all. I love being all of the above. I love working in the community with American Legion and things like this. So, happy Father's Day to everyone. That's it. I don't know if it was 2 minutes, but.
Before we get started, I also want to acknowledge a couple of people who are also in the building. First of all, we have Charles Garrett, who has long served our community as well in public office. So let's give a round of applause for him. We have Mark Tyler, who is the publisher of AtlanticCityFocus.com. AtlanticCityFocus.com is one of the sponsors who help make this happen. Next to him is Stephanie. What's your last name, Stephanie? Stephanie Davies from Atlantic Cape Community College. And she helps a lot of people not only get into school, but get a career is it maintenance? And maintenance. So give it up for Stephanie Davies. And also we have Jelani Garrett, who, what are you doing these days, Jelani? Come on now. Come on.
He's great. Come out and help me out. He don't know it yet. But when he got his dad next to him, he's going to teach him how to come on out here in politics and play along with the rest of us.
And also, I don't know if he wants to come up here and pull a seat up to the panel. We have Nathan Davis from The Source Magazine, who just walked in, and he's also an educator as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'll throw this question out, and then somebody tells me, make it known when you want to answer. Who was your father?
My father was Andrew Randolph Lipscomb. Originally born in Forest, Virginia, near Lynchburg, Virginia, where he grew up. He passed away in 1975 at age 51.
51?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still a teenager.
Wow. Anybody else want to talk about their dad?
Since he said the name Andrew, I thought that I had to give a special shout out to my father. I'm Andrew III, Andrew W. Parker III, my dad Andrew Parker, and my grandfather Andrew Parker. So I come from a generation, 3 generations of Andrews, and I'll just say my father grew up in Atlantic City, graduated Atlantic City High School, moved out to Egg Harbor Township, and part of the reason that he moved out to Egg Harbor Township at that time was to provide better education for his kids. So I've inherited that better education. You know, so one of the things that got me into teaching, and I'm gonna give a plug out to my man Nate Davis over here, who Egg Harbor Township High School, I was a junior in high school, he was my first African-American history teacher right over here. And now we proudly work together in Culture and Heritage Committee in the county, and we do some work over there. So things come full circle. It's amazing how you don't think about these things when you're coming up in school, but the connections that you make are powerful. But back to my father moved out so his family can get a better education and to live a better life. You know, that's what most parents, if not all, want for their kids. You know, I don't care what race you are, what religion you are, you know, parents want their kids to have better than what they had. You know, and that's what every parent kind of goes to sleep stressing about on their brain. What am I doing? Am I providing a better life? And so I want to give a shout out to my father who definitely did that. He worked at Golden Nugget for years. one of the first African-American managers. He's a shift boss, a pit boss, and then a shift manager over in the casino table games. And then he was also in at 177 in the Air Guard, which to this day, if you notice, a lot of my, so people always ask me, I say, because you're a commissioner, do you get clearance on the base at 177? I said, listen, I can't tell you everything. But the truth of the matter is I grew up on that base. I have pictures from when I was a little kid. Things were different back then. I used to run around that base like there was nobody's business, you know, pushing all the buttons, getting in trouble, you know, whatever I could do, you know, to cause trouble as a kid. And so now as an adult, as a commissioner, to be able to still have those relationships through my father is pretty amazing.
Thank you. First of all, I like microphones. Actually, can you hear me without the mic?
No.
So I'm Nathan Davis. My father is Nathan Davis. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, and the child in the back is another Nathan Davis. Drew, I never knew you were a third until today. So my father is a strong figure. Can't say he's the most affectionate man. He's 88, so I take him with the generation he grew up in. But he was a man that came home every night and called me boy, and I knew that meant he loved me. The man that made sure I had everything I needed and understood what it was like to be a man. And I explained to my son, when I go down to my basement and start doing work, I know that's because my father, when I was in second and third grade, gave me a hammer and said, you're going to learn a skill. When I can stand in front of a group of people and have a conversation, I know it's because my father gave me that foundation. So I look up to my father. I say a lot of kids had Superman growing up. I had Nick Davis. Some of you know him as the first black attorney in Atlantic City. He was also the first black man in New Jersey to own a radio station. And then I found out a lot of other things about him throughout my life that I never knew, because he doesn't want to just share that with me. He's just dad. And I appreciate that. And he was on the school board as the president of Echo Township for 12 years, which now that I'm older, I realize was not the easiest task.
My father his name was Joshua Page. My grandfather, his father, is named Joshua Page also. I got a different opinion of how my father was. My father had a problem with alcohol. And I think all of us can kind of relate to some things of that. And my father dealt with life a little differently, especially when he came out of the service, the Army. He was in World War, he was in the Korea. And the one problem he had that I remember my father, when he started with his drinking, he had the problem of being called boy. It wasn't the N-word, it was boy. And his problem was that the people that was instructing him and teaching him how to shoot guns, they were afraid of the black man because they can turn their guns around and point it at their own people or point it at the white man. But when my father came out, he wasn't the same. Very loving, but he had a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But one thing I want to say about my mother always said, regardless of what your father does, he's always going to be your father. The one thing he taught me was Mr. and Miss, yes sir and no sir. He was very strict. Okay? And actually, that's what made me go into the faith that I'm in now, believing in Jesus.
So my father's name is Thomas H. Miller, like I am. It's kind of interesting because in my family, my mother is Mexican, my father is African American. And my father was killed in a tragic train accident when I was about 4.5 years old. So what I learned about him was through my relatives, aunts and uncles, cousins, some of his great friends. And it's really, what I got out of that is really learning how important it is to live a life doing great things. My father wasn't a wealthy person. He did some things, but he always cared about his mother. And my grandmother used to talk to me about that all the time. But I will say that my stepfather, his name is Angel Lewis Conner, he's Puerto Rican. And I couldn't imagine having a greater person than my stepfather. This guy came into our family. I'm the oldest of 10 brothers and sisters. And he treated us from day one like we were his children. I never heard him raise his voice to my mother. He took great care of us as a family. I think from him I learned a lot about work ethic. I think all my brothers and sisters learned that about him. A very caring person. Soon will be 91 years of age. My mother will be 91 in September. So I'm just grateful, that for me anyway, I mean, you hear a lot of horror stories about step-parents stepfathers or mothers coming into your home and just wreaking havoc. But I'm just grateful that I had that kind of stability with a person who was always there, wherever I needed to go, sport events, getting to school, whatever, he was always there for us. So on this Father's Day, I would, certainly wish him a happy Father's Day.
I think Giovanni wants to say something.
Okay, we're gonna hear from the,
I just want to say that I'm the only person in the room right now that has the benefit of actually having their father here with them. So I just want to say about my father, Charles Garrett, a dynamic man. He has a storied history. He's traveled the world and did many things. But the most important thing to me is that he's been the greatest influence in my life. When he took responsibility for me, his son, at a very early age. My mother and father were divorced when I think I was around 4, and then I went with my father. My father took responsibility, and he's been my major guide throughout my life, and has been the example of a strong, principled man that I followed throughout my life. And as a result, I've been married for close to 30 years with 5 children and 3 grandchildren. But I just wanted to say thank you and just acknowledge, like I said, my father. He was not only a father just to me, but a lot of my friends coming up, a lot of young black men are raised by single mothers. I happen to be somewhat of a little different in being raised by a single father. So he provided that guidance not only to me, but also to my friends in grade school, middle school, high school, and even one of my best friends in college. He told me the other day that when he said, man, when I first saw the relationship between you and Mr. Garrett, I knew what a father and son relationship should look like. And I knew that that's how I wanted to be with my son. And kudos to my father, man. I love you, and happy Father's Day.
Can I get you to say one more thing about your father?
Yes, sir.
It's often overlooked with him and so many people, especially when we got home. He's a Vietnam veteran.
Yes, this guy, he's a Vietnam veteran. He's an entrepreneur, went to New York and back, and traveled the world. And like I said, very, very influential person, not just with me. But I think that even in terms of my positions that I've been in my influence on others, they will ask like, man, where did that come from? And then when they meet my father, they say, oh, all right, now I get it. Now I understand what's going on. So yeah, absolutely.
response to Commissioner Park. No, I'm good, you can hear me. This thing about moving out of Atlantic City to give your family a better education, that happened in later years because Atlantic City, you had one of the best education systems in the country. The sending districts, Brigantine, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, they all sent their kids to Atlantic City High School for that reason. Atlantic City High School is one of the top 10 academic institutions, high school institutions in the country. I know they said if you came out of Atlantic City with the right subjects, you could go to any school in the country, any Ivy League school, and it produced doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, and the list goes on and on. I just want to clear that up. Now, whatever happened later on, I'm talking, I graduated from high school in 1965. And my son graduated in 1991, okay? Up until that point, Atlantic City had one of the best education, K through 12, one of the best education in the whole state. So I just want to make it clear that you made that statement, and I understand what you're saying. But Atlantic City was very, very prominent as it related to education. Okay?
Absolutely. Now, to that point, to his point, I agree with you completely. So let me clarify. Being a proud educator here in Atlantic City, I don't disagree with any of what you're saying. I know the quality of the education that we provide here in Atlantic City. And part of the reason and my motivation for coming back and teaching in Atlantic City was because there was a time period where we had African Americans that were moving out of the urban areas. That's just what happened. You know, whether it was because of, you know, social conditions, violence, crime, you can call it whatever you want to call it. You know, and there was a time period when you had, although Atlantic City did have and still does have a great education system, there was a time period where it was a struggle for young black men to get that education. You had to have a little something extra with you. You had to have a little bit more discipline with you. You had to, because it was too easy to walk outside and get involved in things, you know. And listen,
you had to have a father figure like
you had to have a father figure, that's right. And even if you had a good father figure, that pressure to go be like your boys was tough.
I understand.
It was tough. Like, listen, I moved out to Egg Harbor Township, and I'll tell you, part of my father used to tell you, one of his biggest challenges was keeping me and my sister from coming over to Atlantic City because we was running over here to get in trouble like everybody else. You understand what I'm saying? So I just want to clarify that.
Apologize, we have to move on. I just wanted to say a couple words about my father because I'm named after my father as well. My father was all those good things, came home every night, strict but also a character, and I have so many funny stories that he left me with that I can't get into right now, but I just wanted to acknowledge my father, Raymond Tyler Sr. And thank you for being a good parent. You know, you took so much time that, you know, I'm not even going to get a chance to get through a lot of these questions, but I have to ask this. I'm not, yeah, you can definitely talk quicker. I'm not a father myself. How would you describe yourselves as fathers?
Well, you know, for me, I think that one of the greatest things that we can offer to our community is raising, especially with boys, is just raising great young men to be able to be a contribution to society. I've always tried to instill in my sons really more of living a life that they can see as opposed to me telling them something. How I am with getting up going to my office, serving the community, serving my patients, really just being how they see me with their mother. And this may not mean a lot to a lot of guys, but to me, opening the door for my wife, just doing stuff around the house, acknowledging her, just to be able to, to show them how to be what I consider to be a man, because my stepfather was like that with my mom, making sure he took care of what things needed to be done around the home. My thing was, again, we were talking about this earlier, Charles, I would tell my sons when they go out, if you saw anything that wasn't right, get out. Or if you're at a party somewhere, something's going down, call me up, I will be there to pick you up, and we're out. And that happened with my son one time. He was at a function, people, young guys were doing drugs and all. And they called me and said, Dad, you gotta come get me, this is not for me. And we go and pick them up, you understand? So I think that we, as men, I think it's so important to really be and live in such a way that your children look at you and say, man, that's who I want to be. And today, like, I receive calls, texts from my sons, and to me, one of the greatest things that I see as a parent, raising your children, like today I saw Charles' son go up and take care of the meal, and I'm sure he paid for it, and that to me tells me, hey, you raised the kid in such a way that for every father, you want to get to that place where you can go out somewhere and your kids pick up the tab. Because they're working and doing the right stuff, so.
We're going to go wireless next time. So, I'm a little bit different than my father. When my kids were born, I decided not to write to my children about school, about things. Because some of you in my age group, your dad said that was it. If I didn't do my schoolwork, my dad found out, you got snatched up. So, with my son, I'm trying to give him a little more grace. And part of it is I know life is hard. But to jump ahead, I'm a little bit unique because we lived outside the country for 4 years. I did that for a few reasons. One was to make sure my child didn't grow up to be a knucklehead and have a closed view. But the truth is I feel bad now because I would like to take him back out the country so he doesn't have to see what's going on. So my goal as a father is to protect my son. And if I could, at this point, we would pick up today, move somewhere else for another 4 to 5 years, hope it blows over, and bring him back. Because I know life for a black male, when he started getting some size to him, I know it's a problem. So when he started to get a little more girth and I started to see them shoulders get bigger, I said, he's going to become a target. And I feel, because I know I can instill certain things in him, but when he gets pulled over, when someone talks to him in the hallway at school, whatever else,